welcome you to episode 1 of our new series called Mira, Miraloma. It's an opportunity for us to stay connected to the Miraloma community and surrounding communities by providing content and interesting facts and fun things to do for everybody. So bear with us because we're just learning how to do this whole social media thing, and we're learning as we go, but we hope you enjoy it and we're excited to provide this for you. So let's do this!
Storm, 'cause I need to be swept away, swept away. I'm cornered in the cold where you left me, left again, left again. Oh, there's a jungle in my head growing wilder, and it's killing me, killing me. I cannot let you go, I cannot let you go, I cannot let you go, I cannot let you go.
So that was just a little example of what we're doing to keep in touch with our teen participants. The coronavirus sure has changed how we operate, but we're still providing programming for our teens. In this next segment, we're going to have our teen staff, Celeste, interview our Community Services Superintendent, Joe Perez. I hope you enjoy it.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joe Perez. I'm the Community Service Superintendent with the City of Anaheim. A little bit about myself. I've been with the city for 32 years, believe it or not. I started my junior year in high school and started working in the Parks and Rec department. That's what it was called back then. Working with the after-school programs and coaching kids in baseball because that's what I like to do. And lo and behold, 32 years later, here I am actually managing the Human Services section for the City of Anaheim. Human Services is the social service programs and assistance for families here in Anaheim, and it's a very rewarding career path that I've chosen. And as we get into the interview, I'll share a little bit more about how I got to this point.
Okay, thank you. How many full-time/part-time staff are you in charge of?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of 15 full-time staff and about 85, 90 part-time staff. It really does depend upon the year and what part of the year we're in because the staff numbers fluctuate. But it's a huge responsibility, obviously, that the city has given me. But obviously through my schooling and through my experience, I feel well prepared to continue leading this section, the Human Services section.
Would you say you feel prepared due to how you manage your time?
Definitely. So that's one of the things that there are so many. The city is so large, and we have so many different programs with so many different staff scattered throughout that are helping people, and that's what we do. I have to manage my time. I have to be organized, and I have to ensure that I have the details in place to be able to keep me on the right path so that we can produce good work. But organizational skills are definitely to be honest with you, from the night before I go to sleep the previous night, I take a look at my calendar to see what I have planned for the next day. And that already just gives me a mental picture as to what I need to accomplish from the time that I step foot into my office until the end of the day, just making sure that I can check off all the things that I need. But organizational skills are definitely needed, and time management definitely needed because there's a lot happening. We have a lot of work to do, and it's necessary to keep being organized and managing my time.
Sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, it is.
I also wanted to ask, what were your career goals in high school?
Sure. So actually in high school, believe it or not, I had two. I was playing baseball, have played baseball my whole career, ever since I can remember, put it that way, my childhood. Two things. So the first is, a little bit about my background and why and how. So my parents came here in the late 60s. My dad first. He came here and worked in the fields. He picked strawberries here. Before Anaheim was what you see now, it was basically orange groves and strawberry fields all throughout. And so when he came here, of course, looking for a better life and future, he was working in the strawberry fields and was basically earning money and then going back to Mexico and helping, my grandparents. He met my mom. They're from the same town, from a small town called Jomulquillo in Jerez, Zacatecas. And so they met there and then became boyfriend, girlfriend, and he was coming and going. But at some point, I think in 1968 is when they got married, and they basically came and lived here and came directly here to California in Los Angeles. And then somehow, through my uncle actually that lived here in Anaheim, he ended up moving to Anaheim. I was probably I was 3 at the time. And then we've been in Anaheim ever since. So I was generally speaking born and raised here in Anaheim. But his traditions were super important, and Mexican rodeo or charreria was a thing. We've always had horses, and he's always loved horses, always loved animals. Of course, he grew up on a farm, and so we would go back and visit, every year. And tradition being very strong with him, he got us into this Mexican sport called charreria. It is the national sport of Mexico. And, coming up through elementary, junior high, and high school, I don't want to say he forced us, but he kind of did, but he didn't. We liked it, but, he really wanted us to get into it, to the point that, we were competing, like all through high school and into college. I was competing in this sport all throughout, the LA area, but up into like Northern California. And then we would go to Mexico every year and compete out there. So that was one thing. I was going to become a professional there, but then I was playing baseball as well. And so for our town, the sport is baseball. And so I played baseball my whole life, ever since childhood. So I was going to become either one of those two. Of course, my fallback was that I was going to become an architect, believe it or not. Yeah. So
different.
No, it really was. And that's the one thing that, the interesting thing again is as I speak about my career now. So I started, again, I went to I take that back. I went to Horseman Elementary School. Then they bussed us out. We were the first group of kids that were bussed out of Horseman, which is on Lincoln and La Palma and Harbor. And they bussed us to James Gwynn Elementary School, which is over on Sunkist and Ball Road. And so we were, 40, I think there was about 40 of us that got bussed over there because Horseman was overcrowded. And it was culture shock because generally the downtown area was known as kind of where the lower economic families were. And over towards James Gwynn or Catella High School, it was known as more kind of the better off families. And so it was culture shock going from Horseman over to James Gwynn Elementary School and being those first group of Spanish-speaking kids that actually went to James Gwynn Elementary School and integrated in. And again, we're talking mid-70s, like 75, 76, somewhere in there. Because, it's just everything changed. And, but, you make new friends and you kind of make do, and it was a great experience. But at first it was very different for us, having gone through that. But anyway, went to James Gwynn, then I went to Sycamore Junior High School, so I'm a Buccaneer. Yes, absolutely. And then from Sycamore, I went to Anaheim High School, and I'm a proud colonist, graduated in 1989. Have basically played baseball 4 years out of high school, then was recruited to play baseball in college and ended up playing baseball at Fullerton College. Again, the career was still, I'm going to become a professional baseball player. I was still doing this hobby of Mexican rodeo, charreria, on the side as well. And then studying to become an architect, and everything just kind of collided in until I hurt my knee in baseball. Yeah, hurt my knee in baseball and I played actually 2 years at Fullerton College and was going to transfer out to Cal State Fullerton to play. But hurt my knee, and that basically ended the baseball career. Still rode horses, and I still ride horses today. But competitively, obviously, kind of stopped all of that. My knee is better 100%, but again, it's just one of those things that at that point in time, it really changed my focus. And then I started really paying attention to school and what am I going to do? Because this whole dream of becoming a professional athlete was no longer. And, somehow I was at Cal State Fullerton. I had taken the architectural drafting courses. I took 4 years at Anaheim High School. They used to offer it, believe it or not, 4 years of architectural drafting at Anaheim. Then I transferred, to Fullerton College after I graduated, played 2 years there, took 2 years of drafting there, and then was going to transfer to Cal State. The whole thing about architecture kind of took a backside when I found this thing called human services. And, I've always been a coach for kids. I've always, as I shared, I started as a junior in high school working for the city of Anaheim. This is 1987. 1987. So, it's been a long time since then. But again, I just started as, a part-time staff working 10, 15 hours a week. And then slowly but surely over time, just continued my education, continued working here over the summers and into the school year-round program, which was called Kids in Action, which unfortunately is no longer a thing. But I was able to actually move up into my first full-time position and actually managing this after-school program called Kids in Action. That was awesome. I mean, it was 8 to 12 sites throughout the city that provided after-school activities for kids. And it's just been great. So I've always been around youth and have always hopefully provided a positive influence on them. And it's just, it's one of those things that I've always been around them. And because of that, this human service is helping people It just, I found it while at Cal State Fullerton as a junior, and I said, okay, this is what I have to do. This is my calling. And lo and behold, graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree from Cal State Fullerton. Continued to work here at the city in the Project Say program. Kids in Action was part of Project Say at the time, but then took over the Project Say supervisor position in 2010. And then in 2000, I take that back, in 2000. And then in 2000, I became the superintendent of human services, of which, Project Say forms a part of. So yeah, the helping profession is, it's my calling. I love to help people. And to be honest with you, what we do here with all of the great staff that we have, we couldn't do it without them. And but we have a lot of folks here in Anaheim that need help, and it's a blessing to be able to call this work. This is my chosen career. This isn't a job for me. This is what I choose to do every single day, and it's been a fantastic career thus far, the 32 years or so that I've been with the city.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, I find that really amazing, how you had your like, you had all these paths that you said you were going to do. It was either this, this, or this, and it turned out to be something completely different. And I think that's very interesting, because I feel like some students who do know what they want to do kind of need to hear that, to say, even though you chose that, like, it's okay to switch what you want to do later on.
No, believe me, I wish I knew, how's the saying go? I wish I knew then what I know now. In high school, I was probably in the same boat as many of you. Really, high school was basically, that was my world, right? Going to class, 6, 7 periods, playing baseball, meeting with my friends, hanging out after school, going to the movies on the weekend, just, that was the world. But I'll be honest with you, once you graduate from high school and step onto a college campus, whether it be a 2-year community college or a 4-year, graduate college, things change. Your perspective just is kind of, it's almost like these shields are taken away from your eyes, and you kind of just see the world a little bit in a different perspective, because you meet new friends and you get to speak to different people and new ideas and new perspectives. And that's one of the things, again, in high school. And then it's not to say that high school was great. I loved high school, love Anaheim High School. There's a bond there. If you went to Anaheim, there's a bond. It's such a large school. It has such a rich history that, I'll give you an example. So first year out of college, we take a road trip with friends. So I had a friend that actually had gone to the University of Arizona in Tucson. So first year in college, a few friends hop in a truck and go down there to visit a friend, to go see UCLA play U of A, right, in football. On our way back, so we spend the weekend with them, great, had a good time, the whole thing. We're driving back, we get a flat tire, we drive into this little shop. It was a Sears automotive repair shop. The guy sees us driving in, California plates, of course, we're in Arizona. Drive into there, we park in, and hey, we need some help, have a nail in the tire, need to get it fixed so that we can continue on our way. Guy comes out, sees us, he's a service manager, sees us, sees the plates and says, oh, California, hey, I'm from California. Start talking, one thing leads to another, ends up that he's from Anaheim, ends up that he's actually a colonist. Graduated, whatever it was at the time, I don't even remember. He was an older guy. And so, we just kind of, started chatting up, and he said that he had kind of transplanted into Arizona, probably like in the late 80s, early 90s, whatever it was. Anyway, talks about how great Anaheim was, and just, all the friends and family. Comes time to pay, he says, no charge. Once a colonist, always a colonist. Takes care of our bill, and just, it's that camaraderie, it's that history, it's that connection that people have if you went to this school that has such a rich history. And I love history, and I love being a part of that. So it's kind of a cool little anecdotal story.
That's pretty cool.
School. But like I said, just getting back to the point, I wish I knew then what I know now in terms of just overall kind of what the world looks like. But don't be scared. Just have options. That's all I always say, is just have options, because you just never know where and when that light bulb will go off, where you will find your passion. And like I said, architecture was my passion. Mexican rodeo was my passion, baseball was my passion, my family's been my passion. But all of a sudden, this thing called human services, public administration, kind of came into my world, and it really did fuel my energy to continue my education so that I can do what I do now here with the city of Anaheim for so many years.
Wise words, Joe.
Yeah,
Wise words.
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
You had also, you had mentioned that what was the Mexican rodeo called again?
Charreria.
Charreria.
Yeah. So it's Mexican cowboys, Mexican rodeo, if you want to call it that. There's 7 different talents or skills that are comprise a kind of a competition, and you compete for points. You don't compete against other teams. So all 3 teams, usually it's 3 teams that compete in one competition at a time, and you're competing. Bottom line is you're competing in your talent and your skills in being able to rope, in being able to bull ride, in being able to ride a wild mare. And so it's those types of what they call suertes in Spanish, but it's skills, if you want to call them that, to be able to score as many points. And again, you're not competing against the other team, you're competing against the skill and the wild animal to be able to score the points so that whoever scores the most amount of points at the end of the competition is who ends up winning. So it's not like you're competing against a team, you're competing against yourself and the talents that you have. And as I shared, just growing up, going back to Zacatecas every year, it was a sport that my father grew up with, and he wanted to teach that to us here. And when we got here to the United States, we were all born here, but he wanted to have that little piece that would carry on the tradition. And interestingly enough, now with my son, I have an 11-year-old son, Adrian, who we're trying to obviously also now pass on that tradition to him. I think it's important for him to understand and to fully acknowledge and recognize what his roots are, because generation after generation, you kind of lose your identity a little bit, and you kind of go into no man's land. Of course, the U.S. is made up of cultures from all over the world, really having stepped foot here, beginning with the Native Americans that were here, and then the Europeans that came in to colonize, and so on and so forth. But you kind of lose that history, and that's the one piece that I think is important, to make sure that you know where you come from, because you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you come from and what you're rooted in. So that's important.
Does your son like it?
The horse riding, he does. Of course, the skills, because it takes time and it takes practice. Just like any other sport, you have to practice, otherwise, you don't get it. And I think that's where he struggles. For us, it's more, my father now has a ranch out in Miraloma, which, he's already retired. He actually, as I shared with you, he started working in the strawberry fields, and then ended up working construction. Mind you, he only had a 3rd grade education. When he went from Mexico, he came here, he had really 3rd grade education, because it was much different back on the farm. The farm work was the priority, school work was secondary. And we know that he wanted different for us, because he made school a priority for us. But for him, he started working construction, strawberry fields in construction, and then ended up working in a plastics factory, and then ultimately retired from Cargill Oil Refinery here in Fullerton, probably about 10 years ago. And now, comes back to his passion. He bought a ranch out in Miraloma. He now breeds quarter horses, American quarter horses, and sells those, and he just does that as a hobby.
Wow.
All the while continuing to ride horses and do what he does. So we go out there, and my son loves it, loves to ride horses. Who doesn't love to ride a horse, right? But it's the skills part is the piece, the roping, and the riding the wild bull and that type of thing is not stuff that because he knows he has to practice at it. But little by little, hopefully we'll continue on and he can pick it up. But it's been a challenge thus far, for sure.
Wow. Do you consider yourself a pro then?
I wouldn't say pro, no, because I look at, I wish. In my mind maybe. But no, what's funny is, it's a legitimate sport, obviously. It's a sport of Mexico, national sport of Mexico. And you have a lot of folks that are practicing it here. It's still alive and well. Pico Rivera has a huge arena. My dad, the ranch that he bought in Miraloma actually has an arena, and so we can practice there. But yeah, no, it has a huge following, and there's a lot of folks that are really good. Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself at all. I, obviously was, through, like I mentioned, high school and college, we were competing, had a team out in Pico Rivera, but, things just change. Obviously with school, you just kind of, you just don't have enough time to do everything. And that's the one thing that was a challenge, and it's been challenging. We try to get out there to ride it every so often, but, sometimes we can make it more times a month, and sometimes we just go a few months without going out there. So it just really depends. But yeah, no, definitely don't consider myself at all a pro. And one thing I wanted to share actually on the architecture piece, funny thing happened somewhere along the line. So 6 years of formal architectural work, 6 years, again, high school, 2 years in college, and then just kind of said, hey, public administration, I'm going to switch my major, kind of change gears. Well, 25, 30 years later, in my position, I now have the opportunity actually to design or help in the design process of the facilities that we have here in the city of Anaheim. Yeah. So we've been going through this renovation process and remodel process with some, and creating locations for new family resource centers, community centers, youth centers, and teen rooms. And through that process, actually, I'm part of a team of architects to be able to help decide, and all the plans that I have to read to be able to kind of speak intelligently, obviously, on what we want and how we want it. I can read all those plans because of that preparation that I've had. And it's funny because the professionals in the field are a little kind of taken aback because they think, oh yeah, he's not going to know all of that. Let me explain everything. And no, I can certainly read through blueprints and go through and read design plans and kind of show what we need and what we, because obviously we run all these buildings that are built by others, and we now are in a position where we can help design them. Not only what they look like, which is great because we've gone through this thing where we're trying to modernize, and modernize our system and make our facilities look nice and appealing for folks to come and receive the services. But it's been great to have that, experience and knowledge that I gained at Anaheim High School and I gained at Fullerton College to now bring it to, 20 years later, 25 years later. I'm now kind of in this position where I have that responsibility, and I can kind of, I can hold my own because I know what that looks like. So
yeah, that's great.
It's been great. I know it's funny how everything just comes full circle in that respect, which I love because in the back of my mind, I think I really I love architecture. I love design, and that's kind of a hobby, if you want to call it that I still, really, really enjoy.
In a way, you still get to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You still did it.
In a more formal way. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Last question. What advice would you give a senior in high school who is unsure of what career they wish to pursue?
Yeah. So again, do not be afraid. Do not be anxious. Believe me, as I shared, I wish I knew then what I know now. Things will open up. Passion is the number one thing that I can share with you. You have to find, or you have to figure out what your passion is. As I shared, this is my chosen career. This is not a job. Job being something that I have to do. I don't have to do this. I choose to do this, and I enjoy the responsibility that's given to me to be, in charge of such a large and, enormous program and project, and being able to help so many people that live here in the city of Anaheim. You have to have the passion for the work, and that's the one thing that when we interview folks that are coming in that want to join our team, within the first 2 minutes, really, when I ask somebody, please introduce yourself and tell me why you're here, I can kind of sift through, just having the experience that I have now. I can know within the first 2 to 3 minutes whether somebody really genuinely wants to be in this profession where you're helping people. Because if you don't like helping people, this is not the thing. So that all falls back to passion. Whatever your passion is you give 100% because you like it, because you love it, because you want to do it. And again, you may not know now. I know I kind of had an idea, but I had no idea. I remember taking the tests where, they give you 40, 50 questions, and then it's like an aptitude, and then it gives you kind of, okay, these are your career fields based on your responses. I don't even remember what mine were, to be honest with you, because it's hit and miss. It's really how you feel that day and how you're answering those questions. And so, and again, not that those aren't important, but they at least, know that things will open up for you. you have to continue going to school. You cannot stop your education. You have to continue on, graduate from high school, get into a community college. If you're not sure that you want to go to 4-year, no problem, go to a community college. Everybody has to take the same level of courses the first 2 years of college, whether you're at a 4-year university or at a community college. Those first 2 gen ed, everybody does the same. Everybody. It's all the same core courses. It's only into the 3rd year, the junior year and senior year, that you get into what's called the upper division courses, where now you're very specific in terms of what career path you're going to be following. And so, and after high school, you still have technically 2 years to kind of figure things out. And, sometimes even into the 3rd year, you may wish to change your trajectory just based on experience and kind of what you see. Maybe you've done an internship somewhere. Maybe you have a part-time job somewhere that, so yeah, it's just it's kind of, there's just the possibilities are infinite, really. It does depend on what you want to do for your career, not your job. The job being, again, what you have to do because you have bills to pay. You want to have nice clothes, you want to drive a nice car, you want to have nice things, no problem. But again, that career is really your chosen path that you choose to do because it's a passion that you have. And that's my advice. Find that passion, because that really is going to fuel you to do the best and be the best that you can be, for whatever career path that you choose in your future.
Wow. Thank you so much for your advice and for sharing your talent, the little roping.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for the opportunity. It's great. I know, during these times, it's great to be able to kind of just share a little bit of experience, and hopefully somebody walks away with just having learned maybe 1 or 2 things that that's useful, that they could apply sometime in the future.
I know I definitely did.
Awesome.
I took some of your advice.
And I can say you're actually an example of somebody that has come in and forms part of the team. You're here, you do great work in working with teens here in the city, and it's not unlike what I was doing way back many years ago in the mid to late 80s, working for the city of Anaheim. So you never know where you may land.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for the opportunity.
And that was our interview by our Community Services Superintendent, Joe Perez. Thank you, Joe, for participating, and thank you, Celeste, for leading the interview. It was great, and it just goes to show you that we're more alike than we are different. Now, I'd like to introduce to you Adriana and Axel. These are staff from the Miraloma Park Family Resource Center, and they're going to share with you some of the services that the center offers.
Give us a call to be placed on our weekly food box list.
Hi, my name is Adriana, and I'm a facility staff here at the Miraloma Resource Center. And we are closed at the moment, but we are here to answer the phone calls from 8 to 5. So if you're in need of resources, you can give us a call. If you need diapers, we also have Kids Cafe that's from 4 to 4:30. We have activities for kids, for your teens to stay busy, and any other resource that you might need, just give us a call. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Teresa Rodriguez. You guys all know me as the center director. I'm here because I wanted to let you know about what resources really mean. That means that we're here to help you. We're not open for programs, but what we are doing is providing food daily for Kids Cafe and also food boxes. But behind me is what I wanted to point out to is our board. And it's Spanish and English, and I want you not to be afraid to come, but look at what we have. So unfortunately, people are getting sick. Maybe your own family members. You can find out where they can go to get tested. Some of your siblings are bored and they want to look up sites where they can keep learning or have fun. We have that information here. Bring your phones, take a picture of it. The other is, maybe you guys are running out of food. We're not giving you enough here. There's other places that you can just drive up and they'll put the food in your cars, or you find out where it's at. Again, we're here to help you. How can we help you so that you can help your parents? Maybe they're struggling to pay the rent. Maybe they're struggling to pay the utility bills. Everybody's going through hard times, even ourselves. This is very stressful, but together we're gonna come out of it. Again, come to us. I know don't come physically, but you can call us at the center. If the staff hasn't given you the number, I'll give it to you again. It's 714-765-6490. We're here to help you. We're part of your family. Remember, we're just your neighbors across the street, but we're on the same team. Thank you.
So, there you have it. Our very first episode of Mira, Miraloma. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward to episode 2, where we'll have another interview and we'll have some more exciting information about how community services and the Miraloma Park Family Resource Center is providing services during this difficult time. So, hope you enjoyed it. See you soon. Be kind and patient to each other. Until next time.